Hello YouTube, Moose Cow here with a final video for Operation War Ensemble. This has been a game between myself and newcomer Austin, who I've jokingly referred to as the Austin Strangler. The both of us have been the allies, first time playing with him, and we have been playing against Chaplin and Admiral Balch as the Axis powers, and it is turn 7 for Italy. And Chaplin just sent us a group message. Him and Balch have talked it over, and they have conceded as the Axis powers to us. So there's no point in playing the game out further. They've conceded it. It would take a miracle for them, I think, to pull off a win, or just incredibly lucky dice. But anyway, they've conceded because right now they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They have exactly 13 points now. However, with the way things are happening, especially in the Pacific, they're not going to be able to keep 13 points. So there's just no point in continuing on. The victory points they do have are, of course, Berlin, Tokyo, Rome, Warsaw, Shanghai, Paris, resources, Imperial, World Oil 4 out of 11, and Hong Kong, as well as Manila, South Asia, and the genocide point. However, US this turn took out Shanxi, and Japan has no transports on the board and no units that can reach Shanxi. So they're not going to get the China point back, and China has enough money where they can mobilize at least one infantry here on China 8, which it is after Japan's last turn. So there's no way they can keep the genocide point. So we take that out. I would say, based on this situation here and what's here, what is available here to Balch to work with, I'd say he's probably going to lose either Manila or the World Oil point. I don't think Balch has enough to defend the Philippines and both, all three of these islands. And on top of that, he's got the British fleet over here, so he may have to air blitz it because he doesn't have any sea units other than the one destroyer up there. So I think safe to say, likely 2 of those, at the very least 1, will be taken away. Now over here, in our game, you can see I did put out some markers for myself for when I was playing to do my turn. But there's no point in doing that anymore. Basically, Chaplin was he could possibly take Leningrad, but he could take Leningrad next on Germany 8, but there's just no way he would hold it. With Russia, I would knock out these units, so that would just leave this to take Leningrad, and there's no point in me going for the resources because Japan could just invade Tibet. You know, if I take Ukraine, Japan can just take over Tibet. So there's no point in that, right? So basically everything of mine would push north to save Leningrad. Yeah, it's possible. I was going to do this with Mongolia, take that guy back. It's possible right now Japan is at 63 on the tracker. They need 55 for the Imperial point. It is possible we could whittle that down. Possibly unlikely, but it's very possible we could do that as well. But anyway, that's just kind of the state of the game, and I assume why they called it when they did. I'm not going to go over mistakes that were made at all by anybody. I mean, we all make mistakes. I'm not going to go over those. I'm not going to say, oh, this was what decided the game or whatever. Dice decided the game in numerous instances, but that's how she goes, right? And let's see. Austin, I don't it's possible he could get Paris too, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess. We have been playing with or not. We won't see. I don't even know. I'm saying that out of force of habit. We won't see what happens over here if Austin's able to take Paris, because they've conceded. The Axis powers are just stretched too thin. I will say, Balch succeeded in utilizing all of my Rising Sun markers, so congrats to him for that, because I was running out. All right. And let's see what else. Other interesting things of note. Oh yeah, we played with the Spoils of War deck, which Balch had a copy of, so he drew the cards at the beginning of the game. And the cards he drew were Destroyers move 3. I wrote them down, obviously. Destroyers move, pardon my handwriting, it's terrible, sorry about that. Destroyers move 3, Cruisers move 3, minor complexes cost 10 IPCs, 4 units may be produced from minor complexes, and naval bases cost 10 IPCs. So that made it very interesting. That was a very interesting bundle of cards that were drawn. Kind of a, fitting theme there. So this is our first time with this, or at least my first time with the Spoils of War deck. I will say that this is basically my feedback. I think it's a fun little variation if you want a variation in your game. I think, having things to switch to changed up is cool. However, I would not want to play with the card deck. Personally, I would not want to play with the card deck in a tournament setting. So I am going to throw out my 2 cents on that. I think, you can practice all you want with one strategy or another, but then the cards just kind of, luck of the draw, So I don't feel that the cards personally are appropriate for tournament settings. Whether I know ATL just occurred, and of course, Sire did it there. I don't know if STL will continue with the cards in play or not, but I just cards are that they're a cool little variation, but I just don't think it's personally, I don't think it's appropriate to use them for a tournament setting necessarily, for tournament play. I think I don't know. It's, like I said, fun little variety thing, but in terms of like a serious game, if it was a serious game, I would not want to play with these personally. Again, variety, cool, but I think this kind of variety should be reserved for casual games. And that's all I'll say on that. Will I play another game with these? Sure. But will I go to a tournament that's playing with them? Maybe not. All right, anyway, interesting things to note, I guess. Japan never did its Banzai, and the US never did coalition with UK. Germany did its Blitzkrieg right off the bat and snagged Ukraine, and then that made the game interesting because Russia, I countered and had a horrible counter, destroying nothing and losing only my units, or some of my units in the process. And so that was a big fumble here, and it was looking very favorable for the Axis powers at first, but with the pressure that we put on, that my teammate Austin put on Germany on the Norway and Normandy coast pretty much constantly, and pulled them enough in that direction. Germany had to focus on this. Italy had to focus on this pretty much, which then got lost. They lost it this turn. Austin was able to snag Cairo back this turn, so that was a major dent as well. And then midway in the game, it was kind of a tit for tat thing here. The Ukraine battle, my counterattack here that failed horribly here. Basically, there was at some point in the game, there was a similar battle in Rostov where Germany went in with a bunch of units there, and I countered them and wiped him out with, I think I only lost 1 unit in the process and stuff. So I'd say those are the two kind of memorable land battles of the game. And then we had, early on in the game, we had a massive sea battle over here where Balch uses super carriers and all of his Navy and stuff to knock out the American Navy, but it ended up costing him way more than I expected. He used his super carrier tech. Speaking of which, these were the techs this game. Germany had self-propelled artillery. Japan had the super carriers. Russia, of course, had self-propelled artillery. US had improved transports, and UK had jet fighters. This put a big dent in Balch's gameplay. He never really built his Navy back up, besides, you know, a destroyer or two or a transport or two. And then after that, there was a moment where I think Aya's Commonwealth killed like 4 naked transports, and then he just never had that mobility here again and stuff, besides with his planes and whatnot. So, yeah, it was a fun game. It was good to play BB7 again. Good to play with Balch and Chaplin. I'm glad we did. Good to play with Austin. Yeah, it's a good thing. It was a good game. It was a good game. Nice little variety. So I'm gonna pack this game up and get another Kings and Kaisers game going on my table, probably sooner than later. And go from there. But anyway, if you've been watching, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next game. Take it easy.